Hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. Today, we're looking at the situation with the ANC and the DA. The GNU, the marriage, looks like it might come to an end. We've had threats of divorce, and then we've had a sudden U-turn when everybody's supposed to announce a breakup. And so we are experiencing now some post-match analyses from a number of contributors, commentators, and firstly we start with Sambit here. Then we're going to go over to his father, Colonel Chris Wyatt. Then we're going to look at Helen Zille, and then we're going to look at Umar Johnson and Tyler Perry. That whole thing, that whole closet situation. Let's get into it and hear Sambit, who apparently is a Zimbabwean. There are people who say, look, we know each other as South Africans. Listen to this kid. Look at his pronunciations. Listen to them. His R's, R. He's got this thick R that people say that is Zimbabwean. And we've never heard him speak a local language. Is he on social media? Does he have an Instagram? Does he have friends? Has he ever attended local events, etc., etc.? And Colonel Chris Wyatt is known to have done some work in Zimbabwe. So them two being so closely aligned might actually be telling that Colonel Chris Wyatt recruited the boy from that side, realized the divisions between the South African and the Zimbabwean, exploited the hatred and the xenophobia and said, yo Zimbabweans, South Africans keep on talking rubbish about y'all. How about y'all throw some rubbish over that side? The US government, Israel, can help you talk them down and talk down the government over there. You will shoot your videos and nobody will ever know that you're not even a South African. So let's listen to Sambit here. Tell me if you think that he's South African. What do you detect over here?
Let me tell you something that every South African with 2 brain cells and a bit of gut instinct already knows. This so-called government of national unity, this unity government y'all like talking about so much, is just a highly decorated coffin, fancy on the outside, rotten to the core inside. And now Julius Malema, commander-in-chief of clapbacks and contradictions, comes out and says the DA must leave the GNU if they're unhappy.
Although there's been more reaction now to the DA's announcement that it was withdrawing from the national dialogue, EFF leader Julius Malema says the Democratic Alliance must respect the president and follow government protocol.
They have no reason to complain. They went into a marriage and knowing very well that they are going with an ANC corrupt government into a marriage. These are unnecessary threats. They just want to run like they are government on their own. There's no president. There is a president here. Whether they like him or not, they voted for him. And then they have to respect him and respect the government protocols. They don't want that. They must step out and let the ANC do its own mess. And then we all oppose it collectively.
Is that King Dalinkiebo there next to Julius?
Excuse me, Julius? Didn't the point of the GNU start with trying to bring opposing voices together? To hold each other accountable and keep the ruling party honest for once? To represent all South Africans, not just those who suck up to power. Let's break this down, because this isn't just politics anymore. It's a reality show with a failing script and they're rewriting the rules as they go along. You see, when the DA points out ANC corruption, dodgy cater deployments, billions that go missing, and contracts that make absolute...
Hey, why is this thumbnail taking a crap on the EFF? Why is the EFF catching an elbow? This is a boo-boo. This is an embarrassment. This is a low point for the Democratic Alliance. They are on their knees sucking a black one, and they've got no choice but to keep on sucking it. And the headlines should be coming out embarrassing them for doing that. The shame should be taken and felt by those who support the party. I mean, in the live stream when we were watching Ronaldo host, he even said that the DA is looking so weak, so feeble. He's encouraging white people to go and join the Freedom Front Plus. He's even said that he can recruit a number of people, YouTubers, influential voices, to galvanize the white people to go over to the other side. And so it's a serious moment, this one, that we are observing over here. And now the EFF is being mentioned all over the show, being put into thumbnails. My man, just go and lambaste the DA there, man. Yo, we missed you, brother. Fanele sibonge. Fanele sibonge mthethwa. Yo, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me in the live stream, yo. We're listening to Sambit over here. Let's hear if he has actual criticism for the DA, because he's an Israeli, white, apparently non-South African, pro-capitalism, pro-Trump, little black Zimbabwean, apparently. And so, what an interesting mix over there, you know, praising whiteness, begging for farmers to come back, encouraging South Africans to behave that way. That's where people kind of started catching, or no, man, there's something about Sambit. This sucking up to white people, this being on your knees and saying that they are necessary thing, is known on the southern part of the continent. The black South Africans are pretty much known to be radicals who are opposed to whiteness. But their closest neighbor, who at this point have suffered the whole Mugabe chasing white people out in a very sudden and abrupt fashion, sanctions from the USA, the country collapsing, that has made Zimbabweans fear white people very much and feel that they need them. And so that is also being sold to us over here. And that's where people kind of pick it up. Oh, no. Sambit has that something that South Africans are just lacking, bruh. And so now it's interesting that in this situation where Mahua are ngenging the ANC, they can't get off riding the ANC's meat. The boy here is not able to recognize that as it is. He's here to distort things slightly and say what? Let's hear.
No sense. It's called being disruptive for some reason. But when the ANC loots, lies and throws press conferences blaming apartheid for their own incompetence, 30 years later, it's called governing with wisdom. Bruv! Now Malema is jumping in with his usual red spice, telling the DA if you're unhappy, you must leave. Oh, how convenient. It's like inviting someone to a braai, letting them buy the meat, bring the drinks, do the brine, and then when they ask why the host is stealing the wood, you tell them, well, if you don't like it, just go home. You don't want a government of unity. You just want a government of puppets. And Julius is auditioning to be chief puppet master. Now hold up, let me be honest. The DA isn't perfect. No political party in South Africa is. Sometimes they lack tact themselves. Sometimes they sound elitist themselves. And yes, sometimes they move like they've forgotten who the working class black South African, white South African, every other South African is. But give credit where credit is due. The DA are the only ones in the GNU who are standing up to wash the ANC's dirty dishes. And then the EFF is in the kitchen with the looters. They are either quiet or trying to not make eye contact with the mess, hoping for a cabinet position and a BMW X5 with tinted windows like everyone else. The DA is saying, wait, hold up, where's the money for education? Why did the electricity bill get higher after we fixed Eskom? Who's in charge of the roads in the Eastern Cape that are sinking like the Titanic? And the answer from the ANC and its...
Imagine being an actual Zimbabwean kid, bro, in Zimbabwe, and you're reporting like this seriously, masquerading as a South African. Hey, the end of days. Yo, if the rumors are true, this is a scam of the ages. This is something to behold. This is something to remember. Look at the passion to talk about the DA and what it does. Imagine that you are in Bulawayo or somewhere like that.
Political fanboys. It's shut your mouth or leave. Make it make sense. This whole government of national unity thing was sold to us like a collaboration album between your favorite artists, DA.
Sold to us, and you are in Harare. Haibu. Yes. Harare is in Zimbabwe, right?
ANC, IFP, Rise and Zanzi, everyone was supposed to play a part. Instead, it's turning into a monopoly where ANC is still the landlord and everyone else is just a tenant living on borrowed time.
And when we accept EFF or MK, that's fine. But we're not going to DA. We're choosing to stay out with other small parties out of that GNU arrangement. That is a fair thing. When I met President Ramaphosa, I proposed that. I said, if you have a problem with going with the EFF.
Hey, you can see Colonel Chris Wyatt and his techniques written all over this kid. Divert. Talk about something else other than the shame that white people are experiencing, bro. Talk about the EFF in an entire video about the DA lacking the balls to leave the GNU and become an opposition member.
And when the DA even bothers to make noise, they're divisive. When the IFP stays quiet, they're mature. When Malema talks spicy, he's bold. Only when it suits them. It's like a house party where one guy makes the rules, breaks the rules, and then kicks you out for having a problem with the rules because he changes them all the time. Bro, who does that? Who's doing this? And then Malema, a man who used to call the ANC dogs, thieves, and enemies of the people, is suddenly protecting them like it's his favorite soccer team. Alright guys, nah, something is off. Something is off here. You know what this is, right? It's psychological warfare. It's intimidation. It's manipulation. It's keeping the DA on edge so that they can either become silent or walk away. And then Malema and friends can say, you see, we tried unity and then we failed. This is the same tactics abusers use. If you don't like how I treat you, leave. But if you leave, you're the problem and I'm the victim. It's not about building unity. It's about building an excuse to remove accountability. You, the citizen, are watching a slow motion hijacking of democracy. And if the DA does walk away, guess what? Malema will say they were never serious about nation building. And if they stay, the ANC will keep bullying them into silence. There is no winning in this rigged game. Unless you, yes, you watching this, need to see this for what it is. Malema doesn't want unity.
Yeah, Malema in a
The ANC doesn't want allies, they want scapegoats. And the GNU is not about the people. It's about saving face in front of international eyes after elections that rattled their power. They want the DA to sit in parliament, sign off on corruption, and take the blame when things fall apart. But this isn't just about the DA anymore. It's about any South African, white, black, colored, Asian, Indian, who stands up and says, hey, that's not right. And when you say that, they'll tell you, if you're unhappy, leave. Sound familiar? You think the youth are just lazy? No, we're disillusioned. We are seeing that the politicians are playing chess and we're the pawns. We are watching parties form unity governments that have no real unity, no accountability, no humility. Then you wonder why nobody cares about voting anymore. Because when the system is built to shut up the few voices that do speak up, we feel like it's pointless to even try. This is where we say, not on our watch. You cannot keep calling people disruptive just because they challenge you. You cannot gaslight the opposition into silence, and you damn sure cannot tell people to leave when you invited them in the first place. Malema wants DA gone? Cool. But guess what? Then tell the country the truth. You never wanted unity. You wanted submission when you admit that they can let them. And South Africans don't submit that easily anymore. The new generation isn't buying your PR, your party speeches, or your convenience.
Hey, Ronaldo Ho said they should leave, bruh. He's a white guy, former DA member. Malema is catching smoke for what? Yeah, Colonel Chris Wyatt taught you well.
In outrage. We want leaders who argue, who debate, who disagree, and hold each other accountable for their actions. So if the DA gets pushed out of the GNU, let it be known, they didn't leave unity, they escaped a political hostage situation. And if Malema thinks bullying will make us shut up, we'll be even louder, because this country belongs to all of us. Not the one who shouts the loudest or has the red beret on. Not the one who lies the fastest, but the ones who dare to speak even when told to shut up. Let's keep it that way. This is the Summer Sambit. Like,
Hey, Peggy. Hey, yeah, no. Hey. Yeah, we are singing out here. Michelle. Hey, yeah, no. This boy is giving me the giggles today. Now, we're in the same video again. Hopping over now to Colonel Chris Wyatt, who's got a much shorter video. Let's get right to it and see similarities between the script. And if you were to check, if it was to show when the videos were dropped, okay, let's go back one more, 5 hours ago, right? Okay, let's see if there's some kind of coordination of timing and wording. Let's see when Colonel Chris Wyatt dropped his.
The Democratic Alliance's big Nothing Burger press conference over the weekend amounted to little more than all bark and no bite. Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen found himself in the awkward position of delivering a speech that all but stated that the Democratic Alliance was going to leave the government of national unity, only to get right up to the finish line and drop out. It kind of felt like someone running the entire comrades in the last 100 meters, dropping to the ground, unable to finish the race. Now, the party lost a lot of credibility, and likely many voters as well, with this foolish ultimatum stunt that it pulled last week. It seemed to be a bit of intemperance. While the party did not state emphatically that it would call for a vote of no confidence against President Cyril Ramaphosa, it did say it was losing confidence in him. Now, talk to the media this week and among political analysts today is all about the Democratic Alliance actually pushing for the no confidence vote. Now, should they do so, Cyril may just need to brush up his CV. The DA with just 87 votes cannot unseat him, but there are plenty of other actors who are salivating at the prospect of sending Ramaphosa packing. Chief among them, Julius Malema and the Economic Freedom Fighters. 87 DA votes plus 39 EFF.
Do you see? But it's South African politics, it's facts. I was just hoping that Julius is not going to be mentioned. And look, they're even using a picture of him when he was fed, bro. I was just hoping there'll be a video where the subject matter is dealt with all by itself. DA riding ANC meet, will they get off or not? Let's see.
Votes gets the motion over halfway to the goal. The only other big block of votes in Parliament is the Mkhonto weSizwe party with 58 seats. While MK has no love for the DA, Zuma hates Ramaphosa even worse. After all, it was Ramaphosa's government that sent Jay-Z to prison. So chalk up another 58 seats for the cause. That takes us to just 17 seats shy at 184. Now, the only other parties that would most likely be in favor of the vote of no confidence are the Freedom Front Plus with 6 seats and the African Christian Democratic Party with 3, raising the total to 193, 8 short of what's needed to unseat Ramaphosa. That leaves 5 parties that might go along with the no confidence vote and 5 that are very unlikely to join in. The kingmaker that Cyril needs to wine and dine now is Velinkosi Hlapisa's Nkatha Freedom Party with 17 votes. If the IFP turns on Cyril Ramaphosa, it's game over and time to brush up his CV. Now, in his government national unity, Cyril can count on Gabe McKenzie from the Patriotic Alliance and Patricia DeLille from the Good Party to prop him up. Those 10 votes, combined with the ANC's 159, assuming no ANC MPs actually break ranks in a secret ballot, leave the ANC 32 votes short of protecting the president from being tossed out on his nose. Now, Jacob Zuma faced several no-confidence votes while he was president, but survived them all owing to a deeply corrupt parliament with an ANC majority. Cyril doesn't have that same luxury. Meanwhile, the ANC's barker and screamer-in-chief Fikile Mbalula is running around making the usual noise, telling the DA to quit the GNU, falsely claiming that a no-confidence vote means the DA is not in the government of national unity. No, Fikile, it means Parliament has lost confidence in the leadership of the president, not in the government. Perhaps you all should have implemented a genuine republic, not a parliamentary system, leaving the president vulnerable. Because that's where Ramaphosa finds himself vulnerable. And the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that Ramaphosa has always been vulnerable from the very beginning. From the moment he became president, he barely won the leadership position of the African National Congress in late 2017 when he defeated Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma by just 35 votes. Well, he won by about 70, but 35 people voting the other way changes the outcome. So he barely won, and you could see that in his first cabinet, which was full of Zuma stalwarts. Dead weight, radical economic transformation players who undermine his presidency from the outset. But it seems as if Cyril really doesn't care about leading South Africa. It's all about his ego, because he seldom makes the right decisions for South Africans. Although, to be fair, he does often make the right decisions for the ANC's interests. But the ANC's interests do not coincide with South Africa's interests, and that's the sad part. Under the African National Congress, poverty is out of control. The number of black South Africans living in abject poverty is triple what it was under the National Party's apartheid system. Let that sink in. Townships have popped up all over the place, informal settlements being blamed on apartheid, but they didn't exist under apartheid. They're all a creation of the PI Act and the corruption under the ANC over the past 30 years. The ANC does not act in the interest of South Africans, it acts in the interest of the ANC. So, will any members of the ANC, if there's a secret ballot, vote to unseat Ramaphosa? I suspect there are some people who do it, particularly when they see MK and EFF vote to unseat him. So Ramaphosa is cocky and arrogant. He thinks he's safe, but he's not. And if the DA actually has the internal fortitude, the testicles, the courage to do a vote of no confidence, we can very well see the end of Cyril Ramaphosa's presidency. Which raises a question, who succeeds him? Well, I think the only candidate that makes any sense, and that may be why they may sit on the sidelines, is, of course, Velinkosi Hlapisa from the IFP. But that won't go down very well with ANC members. So there you have it, folks. Talk this week of a vote of no confidence against President Cyril Ramaphosa. Will it happen? Won't it happen? Well, your guess is as good as anyone else's. Only insiders know, and they're not telling us. But if there's a vote of no confidence, there's a good chance that South Africa will lose its current president. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Cheers.
Yeah, aye. Dope analysis there. Colonel Chris. Huh? Yeah. Not much propaganda there. It's an actual analysis. You can see that Ramaphosa may fall. At some point, Julius did say that if the NC continues to talk like this about us, the day that the DA says they want a motion of no confidence, we're going to vote with them, and this country might have a white president in the form of John Steenhuisen. So that ends that video, and hope you like, hope you comment, hope you share, and you subscribe. And I'll be seeing you in the next one as we keep track of the Zimbabwe, US, Israel propaganda in the form of Colonel Chris Wyatt and his young apprentice there, Sambit. I will see you